If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. When I was in the counseling office with individuals, and if I'm trying to determine if this person in front of me has some pretty strong narcissistic tendencies, one of the best ways for me to determine it would be to find out how strong they were in the control, I call it the imperative mindset, versus how willing they are to embrace the concept of freedom. There would be times when I would say something to the effect of allowing other individuals the freedom to feel and think and behave and choose as they will. And I would have some of these people come at me saying, "You have got to be kidding me. You expect me to let other individuals be free?" And my response would be, it's not a matter of you letting other people be free. They just are. Every human being has, guess what? A mind, and they get to use it as they deem to be appropriate. They have a free will. They have the capacity to sift things out, pros and cons. And part of your task as you engage with people is to acknowledge that freedom in other individuals, just as you have the freedom to be who you are. And then we figure out how to coordinate life based on that as a starting point. Now, narcissists will say, well, I really like the idea of me being free, but you, no way. They have such a strong need for control. They have this attitude of entitlement and selfishness. They have little to no regard about other individuals, which is their lack of empathy. That when you say, well, why don't we make that a mutual thing? Mutual regard and mutual appreciation for our interdependency, a mutual respect for each other's privilege. They'll go back and say, no, that makes sense for me, but it doesn't make sense for you. And there are various indicators that says that the narcissist wants to embrace freedom for themselves while denying it for you. For example, they operate with the notion that says, nobody tells me what to do. Now, what they mean is, I have my own mind and I have my own preferences and I want to run with that. And then when you say, okay, well, I don't want you to tell me what to do either. It's like, no, that's not the same thing. Or they may say, I have no particular need to consult anyone regarding my preferences and my ideas or my opinions. And I don't want to be tied down by you. And so when you say, yeah, I like that notion too, it's like, no, you need to have my same preferences and my same opinions. They've got that double standard there. Or they may just simply say something like, my interpretations, the way that I do things, that's enough. You don't need to go and make your own separate choices or preferences. And when you say, well, but I want to do that, it's like, you are such a rebel. You're so difficult. You're not allowed to tie me down, but I am going to tie you down. You're not enlightened enough to have freedom, but I am. That's what they think, and that's the narcissism. And just think about how many times you've been on the receiving end of their criticisms, their advice that you didn't ask for, the rage when you didn't go along with them, the shutdown, the shunning, the silent treatment, the stonewalling, the defensiveness. All of that implies you're not allowed to be what you are. I'm going to be who I am. I call the shots around here. And they absolutely don't see the absurdity of the double standard that they operate with. Freedom is for me and me alone. Now, what is it about your freedom that's so threatening to a narcissist? Why is it that they can't say, I respect your privilege to choose for yourself? Well, there's several reasons. First and foremost, they fear, and they operate with a lot of fear, they fear being irrelevant if you don't filter your decisions through them. It's like, this means that you don't respect me. And you're over there thinking, no, that's not what it means. It means that I have my decisions. And their thinking is, no, you see me as being irrelevant, and I can't deal with that. I have to be the most relevant person in the room, and it's part of their insecurity. It's part of their craving to be significant, but they so overplay that that it reverberates in a backwards way upon them. In addition, why they fear your freedom, they operate with such a tight agenda because they don't know how to manage your diversity. They don't know how to manage your distinctives. It's like, if you pull me outside of my comfort zones, I don't know what to do. And as opposed to thinking, well, if you think one way and I think another, looks like we're going to need to put our heads together, I can do that. It's like, no, I can't do that. Now, of course, they'll come along and interpret it quite differently. They'll just say, no, that's not the case at all. I know how to do everything. I just need to make sure you conform. But my comeback is, no, you're afraid of your own psychological ineptitude, and it just screams whenever you go into that high control, no freedom kind of mode. In addition, part of the reason they're threatened by your freedom is they want you to be a flying monkey. They have a strong need for what we call narcissistic supply. They look for people to be yes people. Do this for me and do that for me. And when you go along and say, okay, I'll do your bidding, everything you say makes sense, then that means you have gone inside the role that they have predetermined for you. And that being the case, they're happy. But what if you say, but I don't want to be a flying monkey. I don't want to be the one that does the bidding for the narcissist, so the narcissist can sit over there and say, yes, this is all working out well. Like, no, that doesn't work for me. But that means you're not being their supply. In addition, when you live into your freedom, what you're doing is you're saying, well, I see myself as being unique. And the narcissist says, well, then that means you don't think that I'm unique. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's like, well, you obviously have rejected me, haven't you? It's like, no, that doesn't mean, with me being free and me having the privilege to choose for myself, that doesn't mean I'm rejecting you. It's like, you don't see me as being unique. You don't see me as having enlightened status. And in addition, we can say, going right along with that, the narcissist thinks so much in terms of power and authority that they view your freedom as you pulling a power move on them. Now, actually, we could say that when you embrace your freedom to be you, you are empowered. And so they think of that, though, as a competitive kind of thing, when you're just thinking, well, I have a strength on the inside of me. I want to live into it. And they see all of that as being a zero-sum game. If you have strength, that means you think I don't have strength, when in fact it's like, no, well, there's enough of that going around. You can be you just as I get to be me. Narcissists operate with the notion that says, I have the freedom to choose who I'm going to be. You have the privilege of me choosing for you who you're going to be. Now, think that one through real carefully. My reaction to that is, I don't like that math. Freedom is nothing more than acknowledging the privilege that each person has to say, I'm going to sift out my options. I'm going to make the decisions that make sense to me. Let's go from there. Now, interestingly, there's a concept that narcissists absolutely cannot come to terms with at all, and that is, the less you try to control other individuals, you actually wind up having the potential for higher influence. In their control, they're trying to influence you to be a mini-me, if you will. But when you say, well, I accept the fact that you're free, and I acknowledge the fact that you get to choose for yourself. What are your ideas? What are your thoughts? Give me your interpretations. I'd like to know so that we can coordinate well. When you have that free mindset, people want to know more about who you are. And narcissists cannot comprehend that to save their life, because it's all about power as opposed to healthy influence. And so they're going to keep coming at you with this notion that says the only person who's free around here is not you. And so why don't we just say this? Despite the fact that a narcissist is incapable of having a philosophy of life that embraces your privilege to be what you are, it's simply a fact. You're free. You have a good mind. You get to use it. You get to make decisions for what you are. And on the backside of free choices are consequences and repercussions. And so smart free people figure that out, and they try to live inside the healthy parameters that would imply. But when a narcissist comes along and says you don't have freedom, it's like, I don't recall asking your permission for me to be free. I have freedom because freedom simply is part of the human condition. I hope that's something you can embrace, and embrace for all it's worth. I hope that videos such as this give you some good food for thought, and I hope it helps you understand what's going on between yourself and that narcissist, and why many times it just falls apart because of that, because they can't embrace a healthy philosophy of life. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep more videos coming along. There's a notification bell. Many times when you ponder thoughts like this, it can prompt the thought that says, I could use some therapy to help sift this through. And if that's the case, we have a sponsor that can take you to online therapy. There's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you can choose from. The link is below, and I would encourage you to seek that out as the need presents itself. Obviously, I've been referring people to therapy my entire adult life because I believe in it, and I hope that it would be something that you could take advantage of if that's your need. In addition, we have my courses. One is called Free to Be. It's about finding yourself despite the controllers. The other is called This Is Me. That's about you establishing boundaries with controllers. And so there are a whole host of videos and teaching points and questions that go along with that. It's very extensive and requires a lot of work, but I hope you would find those to be therapeutic as well. In addition, we have my books and other resources below. Freedom. I like that word. I like that word a lot, and it's a word that resonates no matter what country you're in, and it's a word that we want to embrace. I hope that you can embrace that word, freedom. And when the narcissist comes along and says, I get to be free, but you don't, it's like, no, doesn't work for me. You're free. You can think that way if you want, but I'm free too. And I want to live into what I know is wisest and best. And I'm hoping that in your freedom, you have a sense of steadiness, you have dignity, respect, and civility, which would then position you to be a person of peace. I so want you to be able to find your peace.